Hi there, I'm Dr. Sarah, staff veterinarian for Life's Abundance, and this episode of Pet Talk is dedicated to an age-old pastime, camping with your dog. For those of you who haven't camped in a while or who have never done any canine camping, trust me, it's a blast. Bringing your dog along can give you a whole new perspective on enjoying the great outdoors, as they notice interesting things you might otherwise overlook. Unlike hiking, your dog doesn't necessarily have to be in tip-top shape to go camping, unless you're camping deep in the woods. But there still are some guidelines to remember when you bring your furry companion along on a camping trip. Before you drag out your sleeping bag and pack a cooler, you need to prepare your dog. Think about what agitates her, what sets her off and makes her growl or bark. Consider strategies for calming her so you'll be prepared to do so, because when evening comes to your campsite, everyone will need to settle down. Fellow campers may have just finished a long day of hiking or climbing, and they'll likely be ready for some quiet time. Be considerate and know how to control any outbursts of barking on your dog's part. Remember, a well-behaved canine is appreciated by everyone. There are other practical preparations to consider for canine camping. Make sure her vaccinations are up to date, as you may encounter unvaccinated animals while camping. While not necessary, a trip to your veterinarian to evaluate general health before a camping trip is a good idea as well. They might have information about possible health risks associated with your camping destination, such as the prevalence of ticks or fleas or giardia, an intestinal parasite that affects dogs and humans alike. Be aware that when a dog's routine is altered, it can be stressful for some, and stress can lead to unpredictable behavior. If she's never been camping before, you might want to commit to some outdoor training. In the weeks prior to your outing, practice with short day trips to accustom her to the kind of scenarios she's likely to encounter. Take along the bedding and food bowls you intend to use. Try to recreate situations you think might arise while camping. Long drives, walking around unfamiliar places, campfires, quiet time, eating outdoors, etc., and make these positive experiences with loads of praise and some tasty treats. If you plan to camp in a tent in the week before you leave, pitch the tent in your backyard. Every day, sit inside the tent for a short while. If you want, read a book or listen to music, but the goal is to make it a soothing time. Put your dog's bed or kennel beside you and leave the tent flap open. Don't force your dog to come inside the tent, but when she does enter, give her heaps of praise and treats. Just being close to the tent will help desensitize her to its presence. When choosing a destination, do a web search or call ahead to verify that dogs are allowed. Most state parks allow dogs on campgrounds and trails, but they often enforce leash rules. For instance, dogs are allowed in campgrounds of national parks, national forests, and national monuments. Canines are also allowed on areas overseen by the Bureau of Land Management, but be aware that these sites are more remote, increasing the likelihood of wildlife encounters. If you can't locate a dedicated phone number or website for your destination, be sure to read the information board located on site, not only for contact information, but also for local rules. In addition to national and state parks, our great nation offers thousands of private campgrounds, some of which are wonderfully accommodating, while others may provide only a small patch of ground dedicated for your dog walking. Check before you go. If you plan to camp in an area under the Bureau of Land Management, call the ranger station in advance to let them know of your plans to visit. And talk to the rangers when you arrive. It's always a good idea to share the projected length of your stay and where you plan to be. While camping, do not rely on cell phones as your sole point of rescue, as coverage is spotty in isolated areas. Once your adventure is underway, it's vital to keep your dog under control at all times. No matter how well-behaved you think your dog is, it's impolite and potentially dangerous to let your dog wander off lead. Even if your dog is over-friendly, she could stumble onto a campsite with an aggressive dog, and that is not a good situation for anyone. And be mindful that not everybody is a dog lover. Strangers may be afraid of your furry friend. The bottom line, to avoid preventable accidents, keep your dog on lead and under your control. If you find that your dog is answering the call of the wild by being a little too vocal or a little too restless, a couple of hours of strenuous exercise might prove the best solution. As in your regular routine, be sure to clean up after your dog, and never under any circumstances should you leave your dog unattended at a campsite. Be respectful of other campers, and hopefully they'll do the same in return. In the blog entry that accompanies this video, you will find a printable list of items to pack for your dog while camping, as well as supplies needed for a top-notch veterinary first aid kit to help you deal with emergencies. I hope that you'll find with the proper preparation, you can have a wonderful time camping with your dog, and at the same time be an excellent ambassador on behalf of all canine campers. Thank you so much for watching, and check back next month for another episode of Pet Talk with Dr. Sarah.